Right then, I want to talk to James Heale now, the Deputy Political Editor of The Spectator, about Keir Starmer's problems. But first of all, maybe I'll get a word from you, James, on this licence fee rise. It's gone up £5.50 to £180 a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the BBC will argue that given inflation, that's a reasonable increase. But I think the key thing, of course, is that the corporation will increasingly struggle to justify itself at a time when it's had lots of scandals, lots of problems about its leadership. Tim Davie gone, of course, before that, all the issues involving Hugh Edwards. So I do think that it's going to be something that probably in the current climate doesn't cause as many ripples as it might do otherwise. But the BBC's future is very much still uncertain in the medium to long term.
Where is the debate within government? We know the Culture Secretary thinking about this, thinking about the Royal Charter and what to do. There's so many different bits of speculation. The Telegraph reporting at the weekend, for example, that there could be a licence fee for radios as well, because so many people listen to the radio through their smart speaker, an increasing number to talk, as we found this week with our record-breaking radar results. But anyway, that's just an aside. The point is that a lot of people do not sit down at 6 o'clock in the evening to watch the news anymore, or at 7:30 to watch EastEnders. That's not how, especially people of your generation, James, are not doing that. They're accessing television in many, many different ways. So where is the debate in government?
Yeah, I think you pick it up right there, Peter, which is that it's sometimes seen as like a left-right thing. It's also a generational thing. So I think that, you know, people who are in their 30s, and increasingly they are in this Labour government, some of the junior ministerial ranks, they're a bit more sceptical about the BBC. They kind of are very wary about social media in a kind of vacuum, but they don't have the same maybe reverence for it. And I think it's quite interesting what this government's doing in terms of trying to reach out to influencers. They recognise that the kind of BBC monopoly that it once had no longer exists in quite the same form. And I think for them, it's a sense that they want the BBC to continue, but they're rather more ambivalent about the form that takes. So I think there's a range of different views. And I think that right now, to be honest though, Peter, because there are so many other issues in Westminster, it's maybe not getting the attention or long-term thinking it probably deserves.
James, that is just the breaking news there, that the BBC licence fee is to rise to £180 a year. But of course, there's so much else happening politically. The vultures appear to be circling on Keir Starmer. Angela Rayner apparently telling friends, I'm ready to go. What do you make of what she has said? It doesn't seem to be quite the right time for her. Of course, her investigation hasn't continued with her HMRC stamp duty, the reason she left government. Also, West Streeting, far too close to Peter Mandelson. He was at many, many dinner parties, and a lot of his career is thanks to Peter Mandelson. So I wonder who are actually the threats to Keir Starmer, apart from the very obvious one, himself.
I think that Angela Rayner has a very good chance in that, I suppose, you know, yes, she's got the tax probe hanging over her head, but you know, this is a binary outcome. Either it'll finish or it won't. So you may as well go for the leadership. And these things can drag on. But we know from the past that all these kind of ideas that, oh no, we can't have a leader who does X or Y. I think that Boris Johnson challenged a lot of those, for instance, those norms. You can have a leader, if they think it's high enough, they think the kind of reward ratio is high enough, then they'll take the risk. And I think Angela Rayner right now is, for some people in the Labour Party, a sort of break glass candidate if they don't want to have a Wes Streeting coronation. I think that, you know, I do think it's more likely we'll have some kind of event happening after May when you have a very bad set of local elections. But currently things are moving in Westminster so fast that it's sensible for people around Rayner to be saying that she's ready. And frankly, I mean, I spoke to one MP on the soft left last week, and he said to me, they said that, I mean, who do we have? You know, Burnham's not there, he's been blocked. The other kind of potential contenders like Bridget Phillipson haven't really sort of added enough, and obviously lost the deputy leadership last year, that race. So Angela Rayner will probably be the best bet, I think, for a lot of the kind of slightly left of centre candidates or MPs in the party.
How much pressure do you think Starmer is under, and why has Morgan McSweeney still got a job? What's going on here?
Yeah, he's under immense pressure. And the reason why Morgan McSweeney has a job is, as you'll know from the great book by Patrick McGuire and Gabriel Pogrund, he was likened to a DLR train, you know, the driverless train. And why would you get rid of the driver? I don't think that's going to solve the train's problems, is it? You know, and basically Morgan McSweeney has acted as Keir Starmer's political brain. He tried a few months without him, but he's almost been there since the whole throughout the Starmer project. And frankly, also, I mean, let's be honest, Peter, if he gets rid of McSweeney, he won't save him. And it's a similar thing. So, I mean, he would argue it's best to keep his best team together, turn this around, work together. But right now, Labour MPs are very, very angry. And I think we're one step removed from getting to the kind of stage where ministers resign, etc.
What do you make of, yeah, I mean, we haven't had any ministers resigning, and that is quite telling, actually. Also, criticism from various people. I'm going to speak to Carl Turner a little bit later on in the programme, and MPs been very critical of Starmer and all sorts of things, from jury trials to what's happening at the moment. But also Harriet Harman calling him weak, naive and gullible. Will that give him any cause for concern, in the same way as the YouGov polling saying 50% of people saying Keir Starmer should step down as Prime Minister, 24% saying he should stay on?
Well, look, I mean, I think a lot of people would say he's looked weak and gullible and naive in this instance. I might suggest perhaps that with Harriet Harman, there's a bit of history there with Peter Mandelson, which may be potentially influencing it. But I do think those sentiments are shared by a lot of people in the party. And I think there is also the frustration, which is that this government was elected 18 months ago after 14 years in opposition. And they're just burning capital on stupid causes. You think about the freebie stuff, you think about this. Why are these blind spots happening? And why is it that they have these sort of ghosts of New Labour past hanging around them? Why do they feel the need to do it? So I think an incomprehension, a frustration, and I think it's no surprise that I think half a dozen MPs have called McSween to go publicly, privately, many more are saying similar.
What do you think happens over the weekend?
I think over the weekend you're going to see more people come out. I think that the government is going to try and get some way on the front foot, a bit like that press conference we saw this week. And I think that it will be interesting to watch in Gorton and Denton, where Labour is planning their biggest ever North West campaign day. And so I think that potentially there could be something coming out of that big Manchester Labour caucus. So I think I would have my eyes on that block. Your Lucy Powells, your Angela Rayner's, your Andy Burnham's, to see if they come and so I think a lot of people will be speaking out this weekend, and I think Keir Starmer will have even more problems at the beginning of next week.
James, thank you as always. James Heale there, Deputy Political Editor of The Spectator. Such an interesting situation politically, so many moving parts.